Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today is going to be a game review. I know it's been a while since I've done a game review, and since then I've actually accumulated better knowledge on how to actually review a game. And today I'm going to actually be reviewing an Xbox game. Now, the reason why I'm going to be reviewing an Xbox game is I've just been starting to play a lot more Xbox, and I've actually been playing a lot of one of my favorite games, which is this, Fable 2. I just fucking love this game. For people that actually know this game and actually played it, you know what I'm coming from this. And I'm actually going to be reviewing Fable 3, and it's upstairs right now in my room. But, why am I going to be reviewing Fable 3? You know, why? Why not number 2? I mean, for people that have never probably played Fable 2, I'm here to explain is that Fable 2 was made by Lionhead Studios, which I think is a Microsoft-owned company. I'm not exactly sure, but they made this game called Fable 2, which follows the story of a young adventurer called Sparrow, or that's what you were given the name at birth, Sparrow, young Sparrow, and you go on a, not a rampage, but a, quest to find the man that tried to kill you and killed your sibling. And this game is a morality-based RPG, and it's one of the best morality-based RPGs I've ever played in my life. Because instead of, adding parts to your guns, or, just buying a new gun and adding parts to it, you level up your gun based off of what they're made from. And you have all sorts of magic, and it affects the look of your character. And if you become more evil, you grow horns out of your head, and become more good, you get a halo. But why am I going to talk about Fable 3? I mean, a lot of people say they don't like Fable 3, and I never noticed when I first played it, I didn't notice anything wrong. I think it was just because it had the name Fable 3 probably slapped on it, but I noticed the reason why I think a lot of people did not like number 3. I mean, it just felt kind of cliche and a little simple in some way, like there was still a lot of work to be done. Yes, the game looked really refreshed, and it looked amazing for a good predecessing sequel, but what set it apart from number 2, and what made number 2 the main predecessor of it all? Here's what I think is why number 3 was not that popularized, is because it didn't have the exact soul that number 2 had. It basically follows the trail of your son, your son, or daughter, or whatever, and basically you are the prince or princess of Albion, and your brother is basically taking over all of Albion. And after like some really stupid morale choices in the beginning of the game, you go on like a quest to, build up a revolution and go after him. Kind of a tongue-in-cheek type of story, and it didn't really sound that interesting. And some of the morale choices in the beginning really did not affect much of you. Only your morality much. That's all. And, a lot of people were like, oh, Fable 3 is not that good as I thought it would have been. And I'm starting to agree with them. And why do I agree with them? It's just that it didn't have the soul that number 2 had. I mean, you had the guild thing, like a room called the guild. I don't know what it was called. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played Fable 3. But in the beginning, you start out with these two of each weapon from each class. The hammer and the sword, and a pistol and a rifle. Now, this is where one thing kind of breaks the grounds of Fable, is that when you get these weapons, you don't need to buy any other weapons at all. I mean, you can just stick with these two weapons or so, like your own combination of rifle and sword, or rifle and hammer, or hammer and pistol, any way you want to, and that's it. That's the rest of the game if you want it to be. But that really, I guess was kind of beneficial. Maybe you didn't want to waste much money, but it just felt a little bit too easy in some way. Okay, back to what I was saying about the entire thing. Now, there are gun stores and there are clothing stores, but I think, in my opinion, some of the exploration seems to be a little cut out as well with the game. Like, you don't really get a chance to really stop and, look around and buy stuff. I mean, in my case, it's just how it feels. And, it just felt kind of cut out and, kind of, cookie-shaped almost. Like a Christmas tree-shaped cookie. I mean it. Like, it's just so many, like, angles to try to follow through, but you just can't get to it in some way. I mean, the only time I really went to stores was when I actually beat the game. And by the way, the ending was pretty stupid. But another thing I really hate is that they turned one of the characters from number 2 into kind of a douchebag in some way. I think his name is Reaver. because I'm actually just about to meet him in number 2, because I haven't played number 2 in a while. But they turn him into like a bad guy in some way, like trying to corrupt you. And, you know, it kind of ruins kind of the morality choice in number 3, due to the fact that, you know, near the end of the game, you need to be bad if you want to actually do something good. But that kind of ruins the entire choice of somebody doing a good streak. I was going all good throughout the game, and they're like, hey, asshole, you gotta be bad. You gotta fucking tax people like the fucking British. I'm like, what? What? Why? It fucked me over in the end. And I really got pissed off at the end of this game. And I mean, this isn't really a review, it's more of just a discussion now. But, you know, I'm not going to even review it, just becoming a discussion. It's just with most cases of this game. I mean, number 2 had a soul where your morality choices did not affect your ending. Even though at the end you can choose 3 things. Love, you know, freedom, and I think money. So, I mean, number 2, the morality, like your morale did not affect the thing, except if you're going to buy something, that's it. But in number 3, they kind of were trying to force you to be bad, which was kind of a bad thing, because I guess you could get a different ending. I mean, I don't know. I never went through a game being all bad, so, But, I mean, whenever it comes to the discussion, whenever I talk about Fable, somebody is always like, Fable 2 is the best game ever. I always say, no, number 3 was the best. But then I started noticing why it wasn't that good. I mean, a lot of people can probably agree with me now, is that it didn't feel like it was really there. It didn't feel like it deserved the name Fable. I mean, not just that, the game felt kind of short in some way. Like, a lot of the exploration was cut out, like I said, and it just felt like it was just a narrowed path. Like a generic form. Not really open to your own demand. And some of the jobs and quests didn't even have any value. I mean, you're upgrading your guns with guild seals. What are your weapons with guild seals? You just pull out your weapon or something, it's like, and that's it. There's like no variation. There's what happened to the idea of, oh, my weapon's better because it's a different material than the old one. That's what I liked about number 2, is because with the weapons, you didn't need it to be upgraded. You could just say, this weapon's better because it's made from a different material and its form. And there you go. And, you know, with it, it just had more variation than number 3. And number 3 just lacking this variation and change within, you know, the RPG elements that I want to see in number 3. But, I mean, a lot of people can agree with me on this. I mean, when I first had my Xbox and I was to get Fable 3, IGN's like 101 ways and reasons why Fable 3 would suck, and I never watched it. I mean, I was like, you know what, Fable 3 is going to be amazing by all standards. I don't care what people say, it's going to be awesome. And it let me down when I just noticed, like, about a month or 2 ago, now actually, not even a month, like, probably about a week ago, I noticed, like, why is this one so much better than number 3? So I delved into it and I noticed that number 3 doesn't have the soul of Fable. This game, by far, is probably the only really good Xbox game I ever played. Yes, there's Gears of War and Halo, but those are played out. But this game really brought me into the Xbox world. It was my first actual Xbox game I played. And it was the only Xbox game I played the most because it had so much variation between its own design. Well, number 3, the soul of Fable just wasn't there. It was forcing you to break your promises to characters, and some of the morale choices didn't even feel that, you know, severe or major, or even, you know, paying heavy on your own psyche in some way. It just feels like number 2 had more of a loving soul than what number 3 delivered to us all. And I mean, the art for number 3 was kind of stupid. This is awesome. I mean, you have your good character and you have your character as a demon. That just stands out to me as amazing. But I mean, that's all I wanted to talk about was Fable 3. I've been wanting to get around to a video like this for a long time. So thank you for watching, and please have a nice day.